The MacVoices live panel's take on the new Apple Mac Mini. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by Notion. Do your most efficient work with Notion projects at notion.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is the Halloween version of MacVoices Live. We are live Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. We have a lot of our friends in the chat room joining us. You should be here too. Why is it the Halloween version? Well, because this particular night is the closest we get to Halloween, and it just seemed appropriate. And it also seems appropriate that I introduce all of our frightening guests, because believe me, they are frightening. Before that, I am going to fix the light because I feel ridiculous sitting here in the dark. So there we go. That's better. Or maybe it's more frightening with the light on. Just turn the light off, right? So usurping the usual person in my top left screen is Mr. Brian Flanigan-Arthurs. Brian, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So is that your costume for Halloween?
Yeah, I suppose I'll go as myself.
Okay. Just try going as something respectable, right?
Well, that's to be determined, I suppose.
In a very ghoulish green up in the top right of my screen, Mr. David Ginsburg. Did you plan that, David, or did it just work out as a happy accident?
Just happy accidents. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. Good to have you. Mr. Ben Roethig has returned after a long absence. It's so good to see him, especially on such a scary night. Ben, great to have you. Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here and great to not be working tonight.
There you go. There you go. Marty Jencius has joined us once again. He keeps coming back, and I love it. Marty, good to see you.
It's good to be here. It's a dangerous week. Apple's selling lots of stuff. And you know how that's dangerous for me.
Yeah, that's very dangerous for all of us. Mr. Eric Bolden is here with another of his backgrounds. Eric, what is that this week?
Today's bird of the week is a killdeer. I thought it was the right time of year for that name, so I went for that.
Okay.
It's looking the other way, so I figure I'm safe. It's not looking at me. It's named after the sound it makes. Just sounds like it's screaming killdeer, killdeer, killdeer. They're sort of infectious.
Okay, thank you. I've heard of a killdeer, the bird, but I had no idea why it was called a killdeer. So that's our bird lesson for this evening. That came out so wrong. Jim Ray is joining us from a different kind of spaceship this time around, apparently. Jim, good to see you.
So apparently I just found out from Ben that this isn't work. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Well, whatever it is, we're glad. We're glad.
So it's a normal Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm missing the World Series.
Okay. So what's your point?
It's right now, right? The World Series is now. And my team's in it.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, well, they're gonna sweep, so you don't have to worry about it.
Well, I am worried about that. That means I'm missing it.
Just watch the evening news, and you'll see all the highlights that happen. That's all you need to know.
Good highlights on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Last but not least, probably the scariest guest of all, Jeff Gamet is back. Jeff, good to have you.
It's always great to be here. And I figured out what my Halloween costume is going to be this year. It's going to be just a total fantasy costume. I'm going to go as a well-paid teacher.
Okay.
Wow.
Little political commentary for Halloween from Mr. Jeff Gamet. Thank you, Jeff.
Sure thing.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about. I know we're not going to get to it all, but there are some things we just absolutely have to touch on. The first one in sort of reverse order here is that today, as we record this, Apple introduced a new Mac Mini as well as the M4 Pro. I know one of the news sites kind of said it sort of snuck out the introduction of the M4 Pro because the big focus was on the Mini. It's smaller, it's faster, it's powerful, it has a couple little quirks, but it seems to be an amazing machine for the money.
It's also
And
taller.
I'm anxious. Excuse me?
It's also taller.
Yeah.
Is it taller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course it's taller. What's wrong with me? Yes. So I'm curious, how many people here are, I know everybody's tempted by it, all right, that's a given, but who is going to lay some money down on this?
Oh yeah.
I'm tempted.
I'm
but
holding out for tomorrow.
What? Oh yeah, because it could be a Mac Studio.
No.
MacBook Pro.
Pro.
Yeah.
Oh, your M4 MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who said yes? Was it Eric?
Well,
was it you?
Webb said he already bought two, right?
Webb
Mhm.
said, yeah, Webb in their Slack told us he had bought two. Eric, you're holding order. You holding up your order? Is that
Like-
what that favor?
So many minis. Ah,
Yeah,
This
many
will come
are-
as no surprise, but I placed an order for one today.
Did you go for an M4 or M4 Pro?
The Pro.
That,
Of
Nice.
that's,
course.
that's not even a question. We already knew that.
No,
Well, I didn't
that's
max
what
it
he
out,
Wants
but-
it for?
I want to read email really fast.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean-
I'm intrigued by the folks because I know I saw a lot of people going today on social media and saying just ordered. And it's Tuesday of a week that in a week that Apple has said it will do multiple announcements. So is there any chance, and Jim, you kind of buried the lead there for me. Is there any chance that you might change your orders or pull them back if there's a new Mac Studio or a new MacBook Pro with M4? Or are you just locked into the minis?
I don't anticipate a studio. I think that's not going to happen until after the first of the year. MacBook Pro, yeah, definitely. And I'll have to look at that. I'll have to look at what I'll get for the one that I have now and make a determination how I'm going to do that or if I'm going to do it.
Okay. Anybody else? I mean, because I'm with Jim. I'm going to wait and let the dust settle and make sure everything's out, and then make some determinations. But nobody
It's
else.
not a question of dust settling. I'm a laptop person.
I ordered an M4 Mini on the low end. So the only waiting is for the second machine I get. Will I get an M4 Pro or will I look at a laptop? But I'm kind of leaning towards a MacBook Air next year. So every
Well-
room is a mini.
I think I probably will. It'll end up happening. I got two Mac Mini M1s that I easily could trade in. I just looked it up the value, which is decent. I'm not driving an M1 MacBook Pro. With what this M4 Pro could do and way outperform this laptop, it'll save a ton of space on my desk. That'd be one big thing. And so I'm tempted. Like I said, I think I'll let things play out a little bit, see where it goes.
Okay. Cletus asking the chat room 32 gig.
Well, it's 24, I think it is, and then it goes to
Yeah.
64. I think is the
Okay.
goes 16, 24, and think it goes up to
32, and then
Is it 32? Okay.
The one thing that I did see, in fact,
And
I have an
64.
article. I have an article queued up here for it. There apparently was a miss piece. I can't talk. A piece of misinformation that they fixed right away. Many will allegedly drive 3 displays, but there was a misprint in something in a note, and I just dropped those into the chat. It was a support note 8K 120, or excuse me, it was an 8K 120 support note for the Mac the
iMac.
iMac.
Yeah, I meant.
Yes, that was that. So that's, I'm sorry, that's not the mini. That's the iMac. We'll get to that eventually. But 3 monitor support. I mean, that's not bad for a Mac Mini for most people. So I was kind of encouraged to see that. It would eliminate at least one of my monitors back here if I were to switch. But at the same time, if it would drive 332s, that could probably be workable.
That might hold you over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use this one in my office, and I have 2 monitors there. When the new studio comes out, I think the question for me is going to be, do I look at a new studio, or do I just juice out Mac Mini and have that as my driver here, where I've got 3 monitors and what I'm doing?
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Rich brought up in the chat room something that I thought was really interesting and a little strange. That the power button is on the underside of the Mac Mini.
It's on the bottom. Yep.
Yeah. So if you're going to restart it or do anything with the power button, you're going to have to reach over and tilt it up to get to it. Now,
but
to be
isn't
fair,
isn't everybody's power button on the bottom?
No. On the current Mac
You
Minis,
know,
it's on
that's
the
a
left
really
side.
good point right there. Chuck's not getting it. He's not picking up what you're putting down, but
I'm not getting it
I'm
either.
on board. Giddy up.
Okay. All right. So enlighten me. What? I mean, is that a joke, or am I just missing?
Chuck, when 2 people love each other very much.
Oh, shut up, Jeff.
God.
Okay. Okay. Yes, thank you, Eric. I'm with you. I need a face palm too.
At first glance, it does seem kind of weird, but to be perfectly honest, how often do any of us ever turn off or on our Macs?
Yeah.
I saw something online that said, well, this is to prevent you from putting something on top of the Mac Mini.
Well, that's an interesting idea. I missed that.
Yeah, I read a comment that a lot of people will plug stuff in and unplug stuff in the back, and then accidentally hit their power on or off when it's sitting in the back. So, why they didn't put it on the front is another one.
It wouldn't look as good.
I'm wondering how places like Mac Stadium are going to do this. The old Mac Mini, they would put them in racks sideways. So I wonder how that's going to work with the power button. But also B, it sounds like this is really designed to be placed horizontally. The power supply is on the top. So the idea being so I wonder if it's going to be okay to run it sideways or not.
Jim,
and then also you might not want to stack them either in a server environment. So I wonder what Apple's recommendations are for that.
Well, I did see one article that was talking about just that it's not going to be a case now of just being able to swap out the Mac Minis one for another. I think it'll probably take about 20 minutes for somebody to come up with some kind of adapter to be able to slide it into a rack mount.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the biggest issue
No,
but it is a point.
I'm not. No, I'm well, there's two issues. Of course, people are going to do it, but the question is, two questions. One is it going to be okay to run them vertically? Tipped on the side instead of horizontally. Is that going to be okay for heat? And also, if the buttons have to be next to each other, like if you've got a whole row of them, you're gonna have to reach in between, or leave a little extra space, or there's gonna have to be some economy. People will do it somehow. And I'm also wondering if you could make somebody could make a little 3D printed doohickey that you could like put under there and press the button without having to stick your finger in.
I mean, I'm sure there'll be all kind of mounts and stands
Mhm.
and everything that
Yeah.
they'll do something with.
Yeah, and
because didn't the video show
Yeah.
a cutaway of the airflow inside, or did I see that somewhere else?
it did.
I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Yep, they detailed the whole thermal system, plus the whole thing with rack mounts. John Turnus specifically mentioned them during the presentation.
Hello, test 1, 2.
Yep. Hi,
Hello,
Webb.
Ben. Hello, Webb.
Yep.
Welcome aboard.
So I would not be surprised if Apple reached out to rack OEMs before the announcement.
Today's MacVoices is supported by Notion AI, the one tool that does it all. Try Notion for free at notion.com/MacVoices. The new Notion AI is a single AI tool that does it all. Search across Notion and other apps, generate docs in your own style, analyze PDFs and images, and chat with you about anything. What else do you need to know? Here are a few key items. Number 1, Notion AI connects to multiple knowledge sources like GPT-4 and Claude right now. Number 2, soon, since they are in beta, Notion AI will feature AI connectors to connect with Slack, Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, GitHub, Jira, and others. Number 3, Notion AI protects your privacy by respecting the permissions of your content. Notion AI partners are contractually prohibited from using your data to train their AI models. Number 4, Notion is used by over half of the Fortune 500 companies. Sounds like a winner to me, but find out for yourself. Try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/MacVoices. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/MacVoices, to try the powerful, easy-to-use Notion AI today. And when you use my link, you're supporting MacVoices. Notion.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Notion for supporting MacVoices. So next up, I should say, Mr. Web Bixby has joined us. Webb, good to have you as always.
I hope you can hear me. I think I'm set up.
You are. We can hear
Okay,
you.
very good.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
So we already outed you as having ordered 2 new Mac Minis, revealing that to us in Slack, and nothing. Whatever happens in Slack does not stay in Slack.
Well, it does. Yeah. So. No, I bought 2. One is for my office for a conference room that I needed a computer on, and the other one is going to be for this room right here, and it's going to be my MacVoices Live computer. So I'm dedicating a Mac Mini just for you guys.
Wow.
Chuck, you need to send the
Aren't you
MacVoices Live sticker to Webb so he can properly adorn his new Mini.
Well,
You already
Well,
have one.
Will we all be invited to the dedication? Well,
Oh, this
Well,
gets
there's a-
better all the time.
And finally,
Webb,
Oh,
you're
there-
the best.
there you
well, you
go.
gave them to me. So
Yeah, well, still, you're the best.
anyway, just a quick commentary, and I'll get back to the topic. It's I think it's a very interesting machine. The ability to kind of fill that niche between a MacBook, something truly portable, and then the studio itself, which is a nice machine. And I'm still going to keep mine, at least for the time being, as my office machine. But it's also the M1 Ultra. So I think it's going to have enough horsepower to keep me going for at least another year or two. But this one is just like I said, for a conference room where I need a computer to run Teams with the video projector and a conference phone and stuff like that. But the other one is just for here at home, because the laptop that I'm using, the MacBook Pro that I'm using right now, really is a company machine and not my personal one, and I can't keep it here. It has to go back and forth to work. That's the rule, and since I make the rules, I guess I have to adhere to them. So.
So what did you order the Pro?
I did.
Okay.
I maxed it out. The Pro 64 megs of memory. What the other option? I get the 10 gig Ethernet connection just because that's more insurance than anything else. While I don't have it now, I'm sure I'll get to it someday. And Apple Care. I almost always constantly get Apple Care when I buy these things now.
Even a desktop web.
Yeah, even the desktops, even though the portables are a lot more subject to wear and tear. I have an old Intel Mac Mini that I bought Apple Care on. I had a fan go out on it, and I just took it in, and they fixed it and gave it to me, and almost did it while I waited. So I think it took an hour for them to do it. So I'm a firm believer in Apple Care. It kind of takes all the guesswork out. They just, oh, you're under Apple Care? Okay, here.
Yeah, good point. Brian, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just curious. Webb, did you max out the hard drive as well?
2 terabytes.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious with the desktop, Yeah.
And I do that because I have that for all my machines, just so it's consistent one to the other. So
cool. Thanks.
Ben.
Here, if you look at the new configurations and the upgrades, which this might be the largest upgrade in an Apple computer since those original M1 machines. The base M4 can do pretty much everything the old M2 Pro Mini can. The M2, the M4 Pro has a lot more going for it, especially starting now at 24 gigs of RAM. You have not only they significantly smaller and more portable, you finally have I/O on the front, which people literally bought accessories to get in the past. Coming as someone who has, at least in this round, been a laptop user, the idea of going with the new M4 Pro Mini and then getting an iPad for portability, it's giving me something to think about that I didn't think I'd be thinking about.
Okay. Because that's the way I am. Jim made an interesting statement saying he's a MacBook or MacBook Pro person, and that's the way I've always been. But I find myself not as mobile as I have been in the past, and so I admit I start to look and think, gee, wonder how this machine would do, given that I've got an M1 Pro MacBook Pro now, and how much portability do I need? How much do I need to really carry around that much power? Yeah. So, but there's the price question too that we have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, I can also say right now, I can count on one hand the number of times this has ever left the desk.
Good point. Eric, you said you wanted an attachment?
Oh, yeah. So I've got an Apple Studio display. I kind of want to get a mini like a little Velcro thing so I can stick it to the back of the Apple Studio display, so everything is all hidden right behind the display. So it's sort of like an iMac 27-inch machine.
Oh, trust me, that'll be coming.
There was a company that made a shelf for the old iMacs.
12
So you
South
could
makes
put-
those.
I was thinking it was
Oh.
12 South. Yeah.
Yeah, that might
And
do
I'm
it.
pretty sure they still do.
He wants it for the monitor. He wants to put a computer on the monitor. The 12 South thing was to put like a hard drive on the computer.
No, it's small enough you could put a hard drive or in this case, a Mac Mini.
Right,
And
but the point was you were putting it on your iMac. So,
Oh,
it'd be
right.
pretty silly to put a Mac Mini on your iMac.
and the display doesn't use the same arm to hold up the
Right.
yeah, that's where my logic completely crumbled.
Jeff, you're quiet. Other than that comment, any just Mac Mini not in your future, not of interest to you?
Well, I've been quiet because everyone has been saying so many great things, and I didn't want to just screw it all up. Okay, here's the thing. If I didn't need to have a portable computer as often as I do, which isn't as often as I used to, but still often enough that a MacBook Pro makes sense for me, this new Mac Mini would be incredibly tempting. I mean, I could see this being my sole computer if I was in the situation where this didn't have to leave my desk just often enough. I think this is a fantastic upgrade or refresh for the Mini, and I can see where for a lot of people, this is more than enough computer for their power user needs. Assuming you get it configured.
The Mac
correctly.
Mini's been a great computer for a while. It's just even greater
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, yes, it's even greater now.
Yep.
Jim Barry in the chat room says 12 South does make a shelf product for the studio display. It's called a backpack.
That's what the
So I
that's
guess
what
it's
the one that's the one is for the
Oh yeah,
for-
it does work for a studio display as well.
yeah.
nice.
Oh, nice.
There you
And
go.
And
displays.
Eric, it's only $20.
They're not saying that on this website though. Oh,
I'm looking at it on the 12 South website. Big orange letters, backpack, and right below that it says create storage and style on the back of your iMac or display.
yeah,
nice.
but I'm not seeing any pictures of it on the current display.
Web.
I was just going to say, if you go to the
that
12 South
webpage also
website,
that webpage also mentions the brand new 2016 MacBook Pro.
Web.
I was just going to say, going to the 12 South webpage, if you go to specs and compatibility, the second one down, 27-inch iMac, late 2012 to current. So I think that this backpack will fit on the new iMacs as well as the older ones.
But that's not what Eric
27-inch Thunderbolt
wants to put it on
display.
the studio display, not on an iMac.
Well, this Barry is saying it will work with the studio display.
Guess I'll have to order one and try it.
Yeah.
For
there you
$20,
go.
it's worth a shot.
Well, you can see on the picture. I haven't looked at the studio display lately.
Yeah, it's wider and it's even, but if it clamps.
It's worth a look. One thing we haven't touched on, well, two things we haven't touched on. The first one is Thunderbolt 5. So, and maybe we're not touching on it just because it's not a huge deal because it's backward compatible with Thunderbolt 4 and
It
3.
is a huge deal.
Well, I kind of agree, but maybe that's why it doesn't seem to be getting a lot of mind share in the discussions, Jeff.
Well, okay. Today, Thunderbolt 5 isn't going to matter for a lot of people.
Right.
And probably for a lot of people buying a Mac Mini. But that throughput that you're getting on that, or potentially can get, that's a big deal. And the fact that we're getting it today, like literally this day today on the new Mac Mini, that tells me that what we're getting tomorrow, meaning Wednesday, is probably going to be a MacBook Pro with Thunderbolt 5 on it. And that's super cool.
I'm throwing in a link to the chats that an announcement of a new Thunderbolt 5 cable from Apple that is worth, now has also been announced. So, Jeff, I'm coming with you. That sort of reinforces it.
Yeah, well, if Apple's selling a computer that supports Thunderbolt 5, it makes sense that they would offer a cable that you could use with it as well.
Yeah.
But I think this is...
And your point is?
Yeah, my point is, of course, they're offering a Thunderbolt 5 cable today. And tomorrow, there will be another computer that can take advantage of that Thunderbolt 5 cable.
Yeah, I mean, that said, this is a kind of a long play because, I mean, there is so much throughput in 120 gigabits per second that the only type of accessories that could fully use that right now are a very high-end eGPU.
Or display at 8K 120. There was a story yesterday that apparently originally the iMac specs said it would support 8K 120, and people were scratching their heads. Now it's removed because Thunderbolt 4, it won't support that, but Thunderbolt 5 would. So some people are thinking, oh, that was meant for the Mac Mini Pro and the MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
So,
but all I can say is this: when next summer or spring rolls around, the Studio and the Mac Pro are going to be freaking insane.
The other thing we haven't touched on is just the whole Apple Intelligence thing. That this feels like a machine that was upgraded. I mean, it's a great machine, and I take nothing away from it, so don't think I am. But now, if everything goes as expected, pretty much all of Apple's computers now, because we haven't talked about the iMac yet, but everything will be Apple Intelligence capable at a decent speed, and decent performance.
I saw an article today. I can't remember, maybe 9 to 5 Mac or Apple Insider. And they said, hey, maybe the best feature of Apple Intelligence is that now Apple's not going to sell any computers with less than 16 gigabytes of RAM.
Jim, I saw that, and I look, I get the joke and all, but I know so many people that have been happy with 8 gigs, and it's fine for them. Now, maybe not with Apple Intelligence. If I remember the article correctly, they said something like they didn't want the iPhone 15 debacle where it couldn't run the operating system could not run on a base model, or certain features couldn't run on a base model. So I don't know, but it just seems like everything that has been said about the Mac Mini and also about the iMac, again, that we'll talk about in a minute, is just that these are all Apple Intelligence ready.
I watched the 12-minute, after I purchased it, I went back and watched the 12-minute announcement video announcement that they had. And true to form, I figured I better figure out what I just got. There was about 5 minutes on the actual device, and the rest of the 7 minutes was on Apple Intelligence, essentially, and talking about the integration of Apple Intelligence. So it's sort of like they built a nice little machine that they can sell Apple Intelligence around.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the iMac video.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.